Hi, this is Greg Boyer, and you're watching Musicians Reveal with Joe Kelley.
My next guest here on Musicians Reveal is a tremendous musician, trombonist, plays a lot of different other instruments. He's a horn arranger. He has been in the music business since early part of his college career. He's toured with Parliament-Funkadelic, Prince and the NPG, Maceo Parker, many, many more. There's a lot of credits. You do research on Greg Boyer and you will find out all his accomplishments. We talked right before the Musicology tour started back in 2004. Welcome back, Greg Boyer.
Hey, good to be back. How you been?
I've been good. You know, we're doing our thing here on the video end and Mixcloud. Just got off the road, or were you with Shrill and Maze?
Yeah, Shriz and Maze.
Shriz and Maze, yeah.
A funk R&B outfit out of mostly Paris, France, but they're members of the band are sprinkled throughout Europe, Switzerland, Spain, and so forth. But I was over there for 2 weeks doing that, and I'm telling you, man, that's one of the funkiest bands out there.
Yeah.
You know, very authentic. You know, it's all about groove, pocket. It was a joy to be with these guys. Plus, I played on a CD a couple of years ago, so I was like a guest soloist of sorts. It was wonderful, man.
Yeah, well, I saw that Maze was hanging out at your house, right? Recently?
Yeah. He was over here taking a tour of the States, and I told him, look, man, you can let this be your home base while you're over here. So he was here for a couple of weeks, and, you know, took him out to see a couple of go-go shows. He got to watch Chuck Brown live.
Yeah. His son, right?
Yeah, his son is the lead singer now with the group. He got to see that band live, did a couple of sessions over at Benny Cowan's house. Wow. And he flew out to Omaha to see P-Funk, where he promptly sat in as the fourth horn. So he had a really good time over here.
Yeah, we have a friend from Paris, Corinne, the funky girl, and she came to visit us and stay with us for kind of like the same situation. Someone from there, they come visit the States for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All she had me doing was taking me to New York City venues, seeing shows, and the record stores. And she was paying a lot of money for the vinyl, but she was happy. Yeah.
And the general consensus is no matter what we pay here usually costs more outside of the country. So what might look like a lot of money to you was a bargain to her.
Yeah. And the one time I think one of the shop owners was kind of like insulting because she didn't speak perfect English, and I was helping her out and everything. And I was saying, don't give this guy any money, but she wanted the records.
I mean, you can speak whatever language you
want.
And especially if you're spending money. I just thought that was uncalled for. So
that was a bad scene. I left the store after
that was big of you to step in.
You can't treat people
just
like
from what I know and what you just told me, that was just flat out wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. Moving on the positive stuff. P-Funk. Are you going back on the road anytime soon? Have they set up a bunch of dates?
Yeah, we have some dates at the beginning of February, as a matter of fact. Now, we were doing a couple of Grammy parties, but, you know, with the city being on fire and cancellations left and right, we had to scratch that. But we'll be in Chicago February 2nd, Detroit February 4th, and Cleveland February 6th.
Wow. Still going strong. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, just go to georgeclinton.com and the dates will be there.
Right.
Without me having to say, scratch my head trying to remember what the
Let me pull them up on the phone. Yes. Yeah. I mean, you started, I believe, in 78, 79 with George Clinton and Company, right?
March 9th, 1978.
Oh wow, you got it to the T.
I would call that a memorable day.
Yeah.
What were your things I can remember?
So tell me about your parents and family's reaction to you, because you were at St. Mary's College in Maryland.
Yeah.
And getting that opportunity to jump on the road with adults who've been seasoned and music legends. How did that go?
Well, let me dial it back a little bit. I was at St. Mary's College, and I was a lousy college student. You know, my thing was partying. I went to class when I felt like it, and I was essentially wasting my parents' money.
Okay.
And I just decided after 3 semesters, I was like, you know what? I need to find another way to do this. Maybe come back when I'm a little bit more mature and disciplined. But right before I quit, Benny and I went on an East Coast venture. We went to Baltimore, got picked up by this guy named Lee Holmes, and then we went up to New York and we were hanging out with Eddie Kendricks. Stopped at the Philly International Studios on the way back, watching MFSB do a session, and went to a rehearsal with Fat Larry. We were doing all of these things in this one day, you know, calling ourselves musicians / arrangers and everything. And we got back to school about midnight. Now, as a result of us gallivanting all over the I-95, we missed a very important rehearsal for the winter concert for the college jazz ensemble, and we were punished for that. So I got to thinking, you know, we were kind of like, well, we didn't know at the time, but we felt like we halfway had our foot out there in the world of professional musicians. And Benny and I decided pretty much at the same time, you know what, maybe school isn't for us. And we both dropped out in December in '77. Met some people. One of those was Greg Thomas, and you know, a couple of things. Almost 6 weeks later, after we dropped, well, 2 months later, after we dropped out of school, we were auditioning with P-Funk.
The three of you.
Unrelated. You know, everybody's like, you quit school to go play with P-Funk. I said, no, I quit school because I quit. The whole P-Funk thing happened to fall into my lap a couple of months later. What happened was there was a shakeup within the band, and members were leaving, and there was a vacancy for the horn section. And Rodney Skeet Curtis called Greg Thomas and said, get a horn section together. There's a vacancy down here. And we auditioned in February, and they sent us plane tickets in March. And that's how it happened.
What was the first tour?
It was the Flashlight Tour.
Okay.
And midway through that, the band just, like I said, they fell apart, you know, disgruntled band members, and reasonably so, considering everything that was going on at the time. And we got flown into Nashville. We got in late, so we missed the show. And we were playing in Huntsville, Alabama the next day. And that was the first show that we played with them.
How about those first recording sessions with George and P-Funk?
It was all new to me. I'd never done a recording session in an actual studio before. Have I been recorded? Yeah, but you know, somebody hung a mic from the ceiling, counted to 4, and just said play. Okay. And that was pretty much it. But we were in there saying, oh, what do we do here? What do we do here? We didn't really have, no, we did. We did have a producer on board. Ron Dunbar was producing those horn sessions. Play this, play that. And then we come up with some ideas on our own, and he either liked them or didn't like them. And that was pretty much it. It was just a joint effort between Greg, Benny, and myself as to what was going to be played. And
yeah, the three of you got that. And Skeet from Baltimore, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Skeet
yeah.
from
Skeet's been on the
Baltimore,
show.
and Dennis Chambers later on from Baltimore. Kevin Oliver on guitar, who's back in the band. He's from Baltimore.
Okay.
Gary Hudge on keys from Baltimore. The front runner for all of this is Mudbone. You know, he was from Baltimore. And he pretty much was the pipeline for all of those musicians in Baltimore ending up in P-Funk.
Did you do a lot of recording sessions with Bernie Worrell?
I did not know.
Okay. Yeah.
No. I mean, you got to think too, before we got there, the old guard was Fred, Maceo, Cush, and Rick. So they were seasoned veterans. So, you know, we would still had, you know, moisture, as a friend of mine likes to say, carnation milk behind our ears.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, you know, I don't think we garnered the trust of those people that have been there a while. Eventually we did, because, you know, we came in as a substitute for the Horny Horns, and eventually, after we started to establish ourselves as who we were, then maybe at that point we were a little bit more trusted going into the studio.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the current touring ensemble, which changes a lot, you've got one of the most service years of the whole crew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Mike Hampton is still there. He was there before
yeah.
us. And,
Lige Curry, yeah.
yeah. And Clip, he was there. He was pretty much working behind the scenes and eventually became a member of the band. So he was there about the same time, maybe a little bit before we got there. And Skeet, of course, he's retired, but
Mhm.
he was in there before. So yeah, I'm one of maybe about 4 or 5 elder statesmen of the band now.
Yeah. With P-Funk, the all-stars always changing, how do you deal with new players? Who runs the show as far as, I mean, there's a lot going on throughout every concert. So how do you guys piece it together?
Well, there's no hard, fast MD anymore. We just kind of, I guess, leaning on each other as to what's being played and what needs to be learned and everything. Because anybody comes in, they'll just look around and see who knows. They'll ask that person what to do. And us being very community minded as far as the music and everything, we would say, well, play this, do that. And on this section, layout, on this section, come in. A lot of times too, those people are in the band have seen everything before. So it's not like they're coming in totally green,
Right.
trying to figure out what to do and what their input might be.
Who's playing drums in the band currently?
Benzel, birth name Benjamin Cowan, but he
Okay.
calls himself Benzel Baltimore.
Right.
Take off on a famous actor.
Right.
And that's Benny's son.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been holding down that drum chair for a good while now.
Yeah, the last time I saw you guys live, was Foley was playing drums for.
Okay, that was before I got back in the band.
Yeah, they played at
So it's
Toad's
been
place.
a while then.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. So revisiting the St. Mary's days. If people want to do, you can go on YouTube, type in Greg Boyer. A lot of stuff comes up. You've done a lot.
Yeah.
Johnny's Quest. You arranged for a bunch of players back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is before Nickelodeon and all of that stuff. Yeah, I just was. I mean, I've always been a fan of TV themes. So we grew up in an era where, all of that stuff was very distinctive, very well written.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the harebrained idea to do a big band arrangement of the theme from Johnny Quest. Now,
Okay.
at the time I sat down and put the pen on the paper, I hadn't seen that show for almost 10 years. So I had to do it completely from memory. And and it came out pretty good, man. I wrote the parts out and then dropped it in front of the band, and they were willing participants, and we ended up doing the theme from Johnny Quest.
And you were playing tuba on it, right?
I was playing tuba. Yeah, I was a tuba major when I was in college. I played bass trombone and tuba in a jazz band. Mm-hmm. But the classical side of it, I was a tuba player. I wanted, play in an orchestra.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I mean, you played practically, or you were like kind of like a Prince, practically playing everything. Although horns weren't, he didn't touch that, but you played drums, bass, piano, everything, right?
And that's how I was able to get away with what I did when I was playing with Prince. He's like, that whole horn thing is just totally foreign to me. Like saxophones and E flat and trumpet and B flat. And he's like, why can't they all be in C? Because the horn's not in C. And
okay.
That whole thing was just like, it was a head scratcher for him.
But he trusted you with, coordinating all.
Yeah. I got a whole box of charts downstairs of stuff that I had written out for NPG while I was there. And of course, with him having a revolving door of so many people,
right,
I had to document the stuff so that when one person left and another one came in, they'd know what to do instead of having to sit there and learn it by ear,
So getting to the charts, I mean, for our music listeners and viewers out there, how do you write? Pen to, pencil to paper, or you computer? You write? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't sat down in any of the notation software, because the learning curve is just so crazy. You know, you hit this key and uppercase, lowercase, on a little row of things at the top of the keyboard and moving it around. It's just so much faster for me just put the pen on the paper and just draw the note.
Right.
And the only drawback to that is if I feel like I need to change the key for whatever reason, I can't push a button and just change everything. I have to write it all over. Now, there's a little story that goes from when we were playing with Prince. I wrote this line out. Is Jungle Groove from Buckshot LaFunk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I said that I could write it out faster than somebody could take the piece of paper down to the office or whatever and make a copy of it. So the guy's racing. So I'm writing it and see if I can finish it before he can bring back a copy. And I beat him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's talent. Yeah.
He drops it on the table and I say, hey, I've already done it already.
So I thought about back to something you said before about the TV themes. Were you responsible for getting those into Prince, the Sanford and Son and TV show themes like that?
No, he just randomly said, and when it was time to do a solo, I want you to play the theme from Sanford and Son. He told Candy that, and he wanted me to play Hollywood Swingin', and I think I forgot which one Maceo had, but
Flintstones.
Prince,
Maybe did the Flintstones.
He might have.
Yeah.
But I just distinctly remember Candy playing because it was it wasn't a 4-bar thing. It was like a 6-bar line.
Oh, okay.
And, we had to we couldn't just come back in when we felt like we had to wait for her to finish the line. But, he would just have these, I wouldn't call them fits, but he would just have these ideas. Like he just all of a sudden fell into a Wayne Shorter and Cannonball Adderley phase. And he says, I want to do this song. He says, can you write it out? I'm like, sure.
Yeah, you did the Cannonball Adderley during the Webster Hall gig.
Yeah, that's right. We did
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
He said he wanted to do a song, and I was like guessing as to which song he wanted. And he said, no, I want to do Hippodelphia, which is like a really obscure song on that live Mercy, Mercy, Mercy. Everybody knows, that song. It's been played to death, but I had to go back and listen to it. And I was like, oh, okay. So he wanted that arranged for 4 horns. I was like, okay. 3 altos and a trombone.
Yeah, it's funny because at the time, because we were in the house when you guys taped at the Musicology at Webster Hall. Yeah. And then me and my wife were down in Hollywood Beach in Florida.
Yeah.
And our friend Ronnie Baker Brooks was doing a blues gig there, and the sax player there started playing that same part that you guys played, Cannonball Adderley. I didn't know the tune. I went up and actually asked him where that song comes from. Yeah. Have you seen any footage from the Webster Hall that wasn't put in the special? Because I know there were like 4 or 5 other songs you guys did that you put on.
I've only seen the one that's circulating because, Prince had this thing where we would do the concert.
Yeah.
And then he would have it recorded every night. And he says, I want the band to meet in my room and we're going to watch the concert. And I'm thinking to myself, shoot, I just played it. What do I need to watch it for? Of course, when I get there and I see how he wanted us to be at a certain spot in the song, and we were either not there or the whole transition was kind of raggedy, then I could see the benefit of watching the show.
Right.
I'm just thinking, are the notes played right? Yeah, that's it. I was cool with that. But, it was more than just the notes with Prince. It was, you people listen with their eyes. So, and he honors that by, staging all these, places you have to be, and, people on roller skates and run to the side of the stage when we're doing this song. And
yeah. Well, one thing I got to give you a huge credit for. I mean, you're playing an instrument which takes a lot of focus, but you're moving around and making it fun on stage.
Yeah,
you're doing a little time moves, Minneapolis style up there occasionally, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've always it's one of the things I learned early on in P-Funk was you're not just playing, you're an entertainer.
Right.
And those people that just stand there and just play everything, they're not fun. They could sound great, but they're not enjoyable if they're just standing there just playing this. I mean, even if you stand there, have some kind of air of mystery to you, be entertaining some kind of way. And my thing is, I love the music I'm playing, and I'm not afraid to show that, when the downbeat hits, the drug is taken in and I'm off and running.
Yeah, those musicology. I mean, you guys were hooked to the nines with all the outfits on that. How many different outfits? Because the band a lot of times had color coordinated.
Yeah.
There must have been a wardrobe.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff going out, right?
Each band had their own wardrobe case.
Right.
And the call would come from high
Yeah.
that, okay, we're wearing purple tonight, or we're wearing red, or we're wearing black and white. The wardrobe committee would pull everything out of your respective wardrobe case, iron it, steam it, and have it hanging. So all I had to do was just pretty much slide down the bat pole and jump right into it. And
I saw. Go ahead.
It's one of those things where, and somebody was asking me about this just last night. I was talking to someone, and I was just telling them how, you're playing music, and there are certain levels to this whole thing. And I was introduced to some stuff when I was playing with Prince that I had not seen prior to, and haven't seen since. Just the way things are run, and the whole organizational standpoint of it. And, that was one of the things that came up was the wardrobe.
Yeah, I saw the documentary that was never officially released with Musicology. You see Chance, and I saw the wardrobe cases back there. So yeah. We saw the tour in New Jersey, and I was amazed because whoever put that schedule together, it was Jersey, had to go to Connecticut, and then come back to Jersey within 3 nights.
Yeah.
And we're talking to the guy. I asked the guy setting up the stage, because we were part of the NPG Music Club. I said, "You got to break down this stage and set it up." And he said, "Yep."
Now, when you fast forward to now, where these really super elaborate things, like if Beyonce goes on tour or Taylor Swift, and they just have so much stuff, giant screens and all kinds of technical, it's just anything super visual. And though we didn't have that, we just had a stage that was shaped like a cymbal, and all of the stuff that went with it. So compared to now, it was peanuts. But for me back then, that was just a lot of stuff to move. But it was possible to break that stuff down and move it in a day, because it had so many people working in the on the crew.
Okay.
It's like, army ants on a Brazilian jungle floor, how they just move en masse and just go from one place to the other.
What's it like sitting underneath the stage while, Prince is maybe doing the acoustic set or piano and stuff like that?
Oh, it was a break. I felt like I was in a dressing room without having to go through the crowd or anything.
Yeah, that's right.
So, we're just sitting down there chilling and, talking about what we have to play when we go back up. And me, my propensity to fall asleep and everything. And sometimes I just get a little 5-minute nap while I'm down there.
Wow, you can nap during a show? I mean, you're able to? Yeah.
Man, I could sleep in front of a jet engine. When I have to go, I have to go. I'm out cold.
It's funny because when I saw, I don't think you were on this gig. It was P-Funk was playing the Mohegan Sun Wolf Den.
Yeah.
The place there. One of the keyboardists, I wish I remember who it was. We had the view. They actually laid down underneath the keyboard for like maybe 10 minutes and looked like they were taking a nap during the show.
That sounds like something Jerome Rogers.
Okay, maybe it was him. Yeah. Did he play on the right side of the stage? I mean, if I'm looking at it, it wasn't Danny.
No, it wasn't Danny. It was I don't know. It would probably be stage right if it were Jerome, because I remember that's where the keyboards used to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was something.
But I was gone for 25 years, so there's a lot of that stuff I can't account for. Even though during that time, I would show up every now and then and sit in with the band
Right.
and, just to say hi and just blow a little bit, kind of remember how it was. And then I'd be back to whatever I was doing.
How many trombones do you take on the road?
I take one.
Oh, one. Okay.
Yeah, just one. I'm not one of those people that has a whole wall full of trombones for all of these different reasons and purposes.
Okay.
I buy the horn that I can do everything on, and that's the one I take. And trombone being what it is a relatively easy horn to fix.
Oh, okay.
So you can find, like, I was doing the Soul Train Awards, and I slipped and fell on a drum riser where the wheels weren't locked.
Oh.
And when I fell down, and I was like, I was okay, but the horn looked like a brass raisin. And I took it to a shop, man, in about an hour and a half. They had that thing looking like it was brand new.
Oh, wow. So they got
just
it all together, hammered it out.
The right hammers and the right tools and everything. Boom, boom, everything was straight. And so, it's not like a saxophone, which is a very tender instrument to move around with the pins and pads and all of that stuff. There's so much mechanical hardware on that. The slightest knock into it will send you straight to the shop. And for a trombone, just like, so what? As long as it's not a slide. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So you were talking about the charts, and you're a great horn arranger, with just about everybody you've played with. Is it possible to be in an ensemble and not be able to read charts?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are people that just have incredible ears. You still have to play something. They have to hear something to remember something. So maybe one person will play the line, and it's like, okay, that's how the line goes. And I'll say, okay, now you play the harmony. And because they have been doing this no chart thing pretty much all their lives, they know which harmonies to pick and play them. And, I know, play with some people that just write alphabets on a piece of paper and, no rhythms or anything, but they write the notes down and by the time it's ready to play it, they're flawless.
So Prince and George, they don't read charts, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Now, very first session I did with Prince, and I've told the story, so I don't know if I've said it here or not, but
okay.
Maceo Candy and I doing a session up in Paisley Park.
Okay.
So we take a break because the first song is over. And Prince said he had an idea for the second song. So we're sitting in the booth. It's just me and him. Everybody else is going to get something to eat, drink, whatever. He takes a legal yellow notepad. And I'm thinking, what is he going to write on a notepad that I need to know? So he gets a green highlight magic marker. And he says, I have an idea. And then he writes, and he drops it on the console. Then he walks out. And I lean over and look at it. And it says, help. And I looked at him right when he was going to walk through the door. And he saw me look back at him. And he just looked at me and laughed. And that's a side of him that nobody sees. He's just this practical joker. He's a really wicked sense of humor.
Right.
But he's, I guess it's the cost of being famous, that you're more enigma than you are a person.
Mm-hmm.
And the people around you change, although you haven't. So what you end up doing is reacting to your surroundings, and you get away from being who you really are. Now, being out at his house in Hawaii once, we were just out there hanging out because we were doing a show there, and barbecuing, grilling, and shooting basketball in the driveway and everything. It was just like a really fun hang.
Right.
And it was one of the few times I got to see him just be a regular person.
Yeah, and was that the time Chance was on the moped with him?
I'm not.
I've seen a picture of them. Yeah, it was like they were riding together, and Prince had a face like, You've probably seen it somewhere, but
I have not. Strangely.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, he entrusted you with some big responsibilities to organize the rotating horn players in the band, and
Yeah.
arranging everything. And so, kudos to you. And we saw a lot of the shows as well.
Yeah.
I got to talk to you, go back to who actually was helpful with you getting in the Prince camp, I'm sure. Maceo Parker. You guys, how far do you go back with Maceo?
When I first got with P-Funk,
Okay.
I've known Maceo that long. He was, I think, more of a part of the band a year later in 1979.
Okay.
Because I think, Boosie was taking a break at that point, but P-Funk was still on tour. So
Right.
I've known Maceo almost as long as I've been in P-Funk. So said 79 to now, 45, 46 years.
Wow.
And it is funny because I quit playing with P-Funk and I was offered a gig by Fishbone to play keys and play trombone, and they were playing at the Bayou. And I was thinking to myself, I would like to, but I'm doing so good because I was playing with Chuck Brown around DC at the time. And between that and a bunch of other gigs, I was making the same money without traveling. So they said, well, thanks, appreciate that. We're playing at the Bayou. Would you like to come down and sit in? I said, yeah, sure.
Okay.
They were opening for Maceo. And Maceo said, oh, Greg's here. So he asked me to sit in on his set. And I said, yeah. And he said, would you like to be interested in playing in the band? I said, just make the call. And he did. He called me and we did 2 weeks in Europe. And he said, hey, I'm going to call you again. And would you be interested? I said, yeah. And that was in September of 98. And I've been playing in that band all the way up until then. So, Maceo and all, because all the years we were together, we had, enormous chemistry. He always was that person that you tried to mimic phrase-wise, note for note. And I have got really good at doing that. So when Prince wanted to hire Maceo, it was pretty much bring that trombone player with you. Because he didn't want to break up the chemistry that we had. It was just that strong.
Yeah. That was good foresight that he had that plan for everybody
unbeknownst to me, Maceo says he sat down with him and says, and he writes charts too, and he does all this. So that became my job as well as playing trombone, was to keep the book for all of the horn arrangements.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's. Hey, who originated the print? I was joking with you in a text about ice cream. How far does that go back? Or I've heard that in a bunch of like rehearsals. And where does that start from?
No, the story is we're getting on an elevator. Prince and Manny, Larry Graham and Tina.
Okay.
And Maceo and myself. And I jokingly turned to Larry and I started making all of these ice cream references because he wears all white.
Okay.
So I looked at him and said, well, now that you're here, I want to get a Nutty Buddy and I want to get my sister vanilla cone, sort of a takeoff on the Eddie Murphy routine when he's talking about ice cream.
Right.
And I said, and my little brother wants a bomb pop. And Prince was aghast. He says, you can't talk to Larry Graham like that. He doesn't know. I met Larry Graham at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opening, like maybe, 5 or 6 years prior.
Okay.
So I knew Larry already. And Larry just looked at me and just laughed like that guy's just out of his mind. But hey, that's, finished Greg. Prince remembered that. And so we do the musicology video. Mm-hmm. What does he have me wearing? A white suit.
That's right. Did you have your little change thing to click out the good humor on the side?
No. I didn't have that. No, I didn't have the coin thing.
Yeah.
So we're doing the show, and I know my solo was coming up, and I'm waiting for him to say, Greg, and he yells, ice cream.
Yeah.
And I think it was a friendly dig at me, cornering Larry in the elevator and making Ice Cream Man references and stuff. But Prince called me ice cream. He called me Frankenbone.
He only joked with those that he loved, right?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's where ice cream came from.
Yeah. You guys had a great rapport on stage, and I'm sure in the studio as well. I got to tell you, the first time I saw you with Prince, this I'm going to tie Maceo in it, and Larry was there too. But
Yeah.
Montreal, the One Night Alone tour.
Yeah.
Before it started, the lights went. I was like on the second floor. I went out to the men's room. I was in the concourse with my wife. Maceo was standing there with a saxophone, all in a suit. Natasha Madison, his manager, right
Yeah.
next to him. So I strike up the conversation with him because my wife at the time was working with Corey Parker promoting his CD.
Okay. Yeah.
So Maceo's like, yeah, we had a great conversation. It was short. The lights go down. This guy's coming down 2 flights down to the stage, blowing his horn. Is that how every show in hockey arena started like that for Maceo?
Yeah. The horns would walk down the aisle.
Right.
And that's how the show would start. Now the funny thing is a Candy Dulfer story, that comes with that. And she's walking down the aisle, and we're playing the little groove,
Yeah.
and we all coming on. And the turnaround is, Prince would yell, "Turn around!" Dun, 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 dun. He yelled, "Turn around," and that's exactly what Candy did. She turned around.
Walking down the steps?
No, she was halfway up on the stage at that.
Oh, okay. Right.
But yeah, she literally turned around, and that's kind of like I won't say an ongoing joke, but it's a laughable little story from that time.
Yeah, that was the night where Larry came on stage. You guys did a 20-minute version of Days of Wild, and Prince had the Montreal Canadiens hockey jersey on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen a picture with him with that jersey, but you were there to verify he had a hockey jersey on the Canadiens. Yep.
And he had a Detroit Pistons jersey on once too.
Yeah.
When Tayshaun Prince was playing with them, he naturally had a jersey with Prince on the back.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
And Vince Carter, I think when you guys played Much Music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, amazing band there.
Prince is, it is documented that he's a b-baller.
Yeah.
A rather skilled one. I mean, he's got a court inside Paisley Park, so that ought to tell you right there.
Yeah. So he had game, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
He definitely did.
That tour with that documentary, I'm sure you seen it. You were a part of it. The Musicology tour.
Yeah.
The Black Sweat in the dressing room. Is that you playing horns on the alternate version? He's joking with people backstage, and with Chance and Blackwell and Rhonda.
Probably.
There's horns on it, and it's like a version of Black Sweat, but it's real funky, like a James Brown kind of thing.
Yeah. Then it probably were, because that was one of the things that Prince liked about Maceo, was he was able to come up with these little funky horn line snippets almost at the drop of a dime.
Okay.
Now, before I got with P-Funk, I wasn't, that's not something I did. And that's one of the things I learned from Maceo, is it doesn't have to be the greatest line in the world, but if it's played well and executed properly, it sounds like platinum.
Wow.
And so Maceo was, doing that all the time. And even now, different bands I play with, I still do the same thing.
Yeah. That wisdom passed on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
I've had my ears open all this time. I've been ears and eyes.
Where'd you get that Bob Gibson jersey you were wearing? I forget what gig. I saw a video on that.
I ordered it.
Okay.
My thing that summer was vintage baseball jerseys. I had Frank Robinson, of course, growing up here in the DC Baltimore area, he was my favorite baseball player, along with Frank Howard.
Oh yeah.
And I have a Frank Howard jersey too. Satchel Paige, Jackie Robinson, and Josh Gibson.
Oh, going way back. Yeah.
So those were the jerseys I was wearing on the road, not last summer, but the summer before. And I swapped those out for some Tromboyer t-shirts.
Yeah, I've seen you. Can people order those?
Yes, you can.
Okay, give us all the specifics. We'll put it in the description when we upload it.
Okay.
Where can they go?
You can go to my Facebook page. I put a link there where you can order the shirts. And
okay.
I think it expires in another 4 days, but I'll post it again.
Okay.
So if the link is expired, I'll put it back up again soon.
Yeah, they're really stylish. I mean, I saw them. I was like, wow, that's a cool product.
Yeah. Well, if you keep it simple, it looks more like what I say, like Donna Karan, New York, or Calvin Klein or something, or anything of that. And keeping it simple. Plus, it's a lot cheaper if you only use one color ink.
Yeah, right. Got to be practical with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, more importantly, who is it? The Ravens or the Commanders for you?
Commanders.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot more of the Cinderella factor associated with the Commanders.
Right.
I mean, having being like, one and everything else the season before to going into the playoffs and winning the game. It's something that the city hasn't seen in over 20 years.
Right.
So the hype is real. Now, are the Ravens scary? Yes.
Yeah.
They're only getting better as the season goes on. It's just like, how do you contain this madness that is a backfield of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because they were showing the Steelers Ravens thing, right? The little, I guess, a little mini documentation.
Okay.
And one of the guys on the Steelers was tackling Henry. He said, "That boy heavy."
Yeah, he just like to the secondary stiff arms, and then you see him fall away.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And it's funny now that you watch other players on the Ravens running, and they have perfected his stiff arm technique. To where you just shove him just below the helmet.
Yeah.
Push him away from you. I mean, he stiff armed one guy and he wasn't falling fast enough. And on the way down, he stiffed armed him again.
Yeah, they're peaking at the right time. But hey, listen, you got a great quarterback, young guy.
Yeah.
And
I mean, his future is bright. This guy, and very low key, humble, and doesn't get worried, flustered at all.
I remember seeing that picture before he got drafted. Did you see that picture when his elbow was like at a weird angle?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was like, wow, is this guy, his body made for the NFL? It was really, they must have caught it at the right angle. It looked like it was broken or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously that didn't play a part this season.
Yeah. Well, we're throwing a ball, and especially a baseball, that is not a natural motion for anybody's arm.
Right.
I've seen pitchers sit there and just in the middle of their motion, the arm just falls apart.
Yeah.
They throw the ball and they're like, out for the season. Or it might be a career-ending injury because your arm is not supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't go through your career without having one of those, rotator cuff or, the Tommy John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I noticed that about just about anything you do that's physical. Like, if you're a guitar player and your shoulder is going to have problems just from the weight of the guitar strap.
Mm-hmm.
For me being a trombone player, my left arm is a lot stronger than my right arm because I use that to support the horn.
Oh, okay.
So all of these different instruments have ailments associated with them. Like for saxophone players, it's your right thumb because you have this little hook on there so your horn doesn't just fall down.
Right.
But if you look at a sax player, you can tell that they play because they have a dent on the inside of their thumb.
Wow. How about the guitar players? They got the calluses and all.
Oh yeah, your calluses and stuff. Yeah.
Did you notice Prince any injuries from playing instruments?
No, I just
No.
noticed his fingers look like baseball bats.
Wow.
You know, fingers have a natural curve or a knuckle or whatever.
Right.
His just look like 3D. I won't call them popsicle sticks, but the ones you use to stick in your mouth and say "ah," the bigger ones.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
thong, not
yeah,
thong, but tongue. Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah, right. And for a little guy, what is that? Just from the years of playing so much
Yeah,
repetition. Yeah,
his fingers look like little clubs.
right.
And I got to think that that's the way it is with a lot of guitar players, because you know they're using muscles that everyday Joes that don't play guitar don't use.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the show must go on. The people buy the tickets. They don't want to know about that, and they want to see their heroes up on stage,
exactly.
right? Yeah. Um, with the touring and everything, have you gone through any of those experiences yourself? Being like, how did I make it on stage and get through the gig?
I was in Colorado once, and I don't know if it's altitude driven or not, but I was playing, and maybe it was a combination of altitude and having just shaved.
Okay.
But I think my top lip was a little raw. By the end of the night, it was swollen to the point where I couldn't play.
Wow.
And
Ooh,
it wasn't
yeah.
anything traumatic that happened. Like,
Mhm.
you know, I didn't get hit in the mouth or, you know, bumped the horn against my face or anything like that. It just started swelling. And I just remember sucking on some ice after the gig and the next morning, and eventually it went back down to where I could play again. But I never was able to figure out why that happened.
Was that with P-Funk?
That was with Maceo.
Oh, Maceo. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because Maceo was big in Colorado. So we would end up at the Aspen, Vail, Telluride,
You played Red Rocks ever?
played Red Rocks,
Oh, okay.
Steamboat Springs.
Wow.
Oh, we were all over Colorado, man.
Do you remember playing Saratoga Springs, New York, or at the?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. With P-Funk?
With P-Funk. Now, this is what I remember about Saratoga Springs. I broke my foot there.
Wow.
We
Oh, how
got
did
an
that happen? You were
endorsement.
on a horse?
No, got an endorsement from, I don't know if it was Kangaroos or something, but everybody in the band was outfitted with a pair of shoes. And I had a pair of running shoes. And I'm up there trying to play basketball. You know, I'm doing my best Kobe Bryant gym rat, you know, working on spin moves and,
Yeah.
you know, fadeaways and stuff. I don't have the right shoes for that. And I came down and I turned my ankle. Something went pop.
Oh,
And I was like, oh man, I got the wrong shoes on. And as time went on, man, my foot is swollen. It is turning purple.
oh.
And
Yeah.
I realized that I had broken my foot. My fifth metatarsal was like broken.
Wow.
So that's what I remember about Saratoga Springs. I broke my foot there in the gym. We were at what's that, Cornell, I think it was?
Well, the college up here, Skidmore.
Skidmore.
There's
Yeah, that's what it was. Skidmore, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's Saratoga, the big place where all the big acts plays. P-Funk could probably play. Saratoga Performing Arts Center. It's an outdoor venue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
and all
remember
but
we played
yeah.
in Yale the next day.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I lived in Connecticut most of my life. I saw P-Funk at Toad's place, but I don't know if you were at that gig.
I've played Toads before, maybe
Right.
not the one that you were at, but
Okay.
no, they were regulars at Toad's place.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's historic. I saw Sheila E. there. It was a historic venue, but
Yeah.
the dressing rooms. I remember we went back and we were visiting with Gary Scheider and Belita Woods, and those dressing rooms look really ratty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
but
is it still there?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't been there since I think last time I went there was seeing Victor Wooten and JD Blair,
Okay.
but it was still going there. So
All right.
yeah. So hey,
That's awesome.
you've played in tons of places.
And it's funny because at some point you hit that that place where you don't remember things.
Yeah.
Like I remembered so much, then all of a sudden it's like, man, I don't remember that. And it troubled me because I know it's something I should remember, but I don't.
Yeah,
But
I
I
used to
remember
DJ
Toads.
wedding. Oh, go. Oh, you remember Toads?
I
Okay, yeah.
remember Toads. Yeah,
I remember, we're going in the P-Funk buses are right along in front of the venue, and there was like 2 or 3 buses,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So that don't worry about it. I DJ'd parties, and I'm thinking back. I quit. I retired right before the pandemic started. I'm thinking you only remember certain parts of it, but if you ask me, oh, you DJ'd a wedding for this couple back then,
Yeah.
couldn't tell you the name. I'm sorry, but
I mean,
yeah,
there are people that walk up to me that I know I should remember, but I don't. When they say, "You remember me from such and such a place," I remember the concert. I remember meeting someone there, but I'm looking at this person like I'm not sure if that was you.
right. And
Yeah,
you want to be friendly enough,
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
Gary. Oh,
things
go
I
ahead.
liked about watching Chuck Brown was even when he didn't remember you, he had a way of making you feel like he had known you all your life.
Wow. Yeah, that skill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary Scheider told me it was a phone interview. He was on vacation with him and Linda,
Hmm.
and I asked him about something with the tour or record, and he goes, "Oh man," he goes, "Don't ask me that stuff." He goes, "I can't remember any of that." So, I mean, he said it in a nice way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So
really,
it's
if you've ever watched Hanna-Barbera cartoons when
uh
Fred or Wilma, somebody's running through the house and they keep passing that same potted plant over and over,
yeah.
that's that's what it's like being on tour. You're just looking out the window and you just seeing these cities just go by, and it's like the same city going past every 5 minutes. And although it's a different place, it
Right.
all starts to meld together after a while.
Do you prefer the flight tours or the bus tours?
The bus tours.
Oh, you do? Oh, for what
Yeah, the
reason?
bus tours, and especially now, flying is such a pain in the butt.
Hmm.
Decorum is out the window. And they charge you for every little thing. I used to put my horn in the overhead; it would be no big thing at all. Now they're like, it doesn't fit, and it does.
Oh,
Put it under a plane. You have to pay to check bags, pay extra for bags, and it's just not a good experience anymore. Flying used to be, sort of elitist, but now it's almost
yeah.
like a bus in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus the layovers too, right?
Yeah.
I was going to Vegas, 3 hour layover in Atlanta both times.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was
And yeah, just people just forget how to act
yeah.
in a crowded situation. I don't want to see anybody's feet on my armrest. I don't want anybody kicking my chair
Yeah, right.
or talking really loud, and it's like, wait a minute, the person's right next to you, you don't have to be that loud about it. And
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of that going on. I know
so
that I don't travel as nearly as much as you, but
yeah,
yeah.
you
You,
see,
you
yeah,
do
so give me a bus tour. My thing is,
right.
let me look out the window and see the country, and when I get sick of it, I'll just crawl in the bunk and go to sleep.
And plus you could sleep wherever you are. Obviously, you mentioned
Yeah.
musicology. So
Yes.
yeah, right. Hey, what one of the performances with Prince, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the song on record, but the Jay Leno performance of Everlasting Now,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best Prince wherever he was playing performances on TV ever. That was you feel you guys hit the mark on that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know whenever we went on TV, he made it a point to be as sharp as a blade whenever.
Okay.
I mean, Everlasting Now, Somewhere Here on Earth,
Yeah, yeah.
we did that thing. Now, I have to tell you something about that.
Mhm.
He, at the last minute, decides he wants to have orchestral woodwinds,
Right.
flutes, oboes, bassoons, bass clarinets, and all this stuff. And he flies me and says, I want orchestral woodwinds. I want you to write the arrangements, and I want you to find the musicians. I had 30 hours to do this.
Wow.
I landed in LA at noon,
Hmm.
and the rehearsal was 8 o'clock the next evening.
Okay.
and it came off. If I had to say one thing was like a crowning achievement in my career, and I was thinking pulling that rabbit out of the hat was probably it. Because if you listen to that, man, it was gorgeous sounding.
Oh,
And
that's one of my wife's favorite songs. She loves that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
if you ever see that on Leno and watch that
oh
again,
yeah,
not
that's
the
nice.
recorded version.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was Genevieve was like writing on somebody was writing on a sketch pad. Oh no, it was I forgot who was his former girlfriend.
Bria Valente.
Bria Valente. Yes.
Yeah.
She was doing some.
Yeah, she was writing on her.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
no, Prince was drawing something, I think.
Oh, okay, that's right. See,
Yeah.
I got homework now. I got to rewatch it.
Yeah. That, and like the things we did on Ellen, we did
Right.
Controversy and stuff. He just like goes into this, funk / Pentecostal groove, and we're just wailing.
Yeah, yeah. You could see the outtakes on there. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
So
he made the point that said, look, we're going to be on TV. This stuff is going to last forever. I don't want to be caught up there with my, my musical pants down.
right.
So
Did any of those TV appearances that you guys did he ever like you did multiple takes? He wasn't happy right off the bat, or he would just tell the studio, don't put it out. Yeah.
We rehearsed it. So when we went up there and did it, we were ready.
Okay.
It was maybe if production made a mistake or somebody, didn't have the camera at the right angle, or if it was too bright, maybe then we'd do it again. But it was never do it again because the band came up short.
Okay.
It was production's fault.
I got to ask you another question. We've had Michael Bland on before a bunch of times, and he was recently talking about a recording session he did with Prince himself and horn players. It was like a Ray Charles kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Were you in on that session? He said it was great.
I did one session with him because I remember he and Sonny came in.
Okay.
And we did something. I don't remember what song it was, but I just remember being on a session with them because I had never recorded with him before. So I was looking forward to it.
Right. He said it was a trumpet player too. I had the braids.
Ray Montero.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So as far as last time you saw Prince, when was that?
It was in 2009.
Oh, okay.
He was like, and he was just kind of like not happy with the horns the way they were. I said, you keep calling all these people who are leaders of the section, but not in the section.
Okay.
And he called me up and said, I said, if you want me to, I can put a section together. So I got some friends, 4 people I played with. And then he says, and I want a baritone sax. So I hired a guy I knew, Josh Levy, who was playing with Grupo Fantasma. I hired him to do the baritone sax parts. And we went up to Paisley Park. We spent a week up there.
Okay.
And I was writing charts all night, playing them all day. So I didn't really get much sleep.
Right.
And he calls me at like 2 a.m. He says, I get it. I see what you're saying now. And at the end of that week, we all went home and the how do I say this? The when we got paid for the work, I didn't feel like it was worthy of all of the work I put in.
Right.
I had issue with it.
Right.
And I even said, hey, is there anything else after this that I'm waiting on or something? And I didn't speak to him directly, but it was somebody accounting when he said, no, that's it. And I said, okay. And that was the last time I saw him.
Wow. So yeah, it was as far as stuff, all the stuff that you have performed with and been studio and on stage wise that the state hasn't released, anything comes to mind that you would one day like to see the light of day?
I can't put my finger on any one thing because they were all memorable. Like some of these after parties we did, they were just incredible. God, I can't remember the place. It's in France and sweaty little joint. It was I mean, really, the
Right.
walls sweat. It was so hot and so steamy in there that there was literally sweat on the walls.
Wow.
And a small, well-known jazz club in Paris. And the thing I remember about that place is I played there a couple of years later with Maceo, and we're doing the show and everything. 2 weeks after we leave, somebody walks in there and shoots up the place.
Mm.
And a couple of people got killed, and
Yeah.
I think including the shooter. But yeah,
Yeah. You were
but I remember that concert. We were on fire.
mhm.
We were, and it was a couple of places like that, But like I said, I don't remember a lot of it, and
Yeah.
the Prince stuff being so long ago, a lot of that stuff isn't super etched in my memory.
Yeah. The one thing I would have loved to see, I've seen you guys do 2 songs when you went to Hong Kong. It was I lived in Taiwan. I spent time in Hong Kong too.
Yeah,
So when I see the clip there, I was like, wow, that's a place I wouldn't think Prince would go to. But
yeah,
yeah, it was a great performance for that
yeah.
one.
And the
Yeah.
funny thing about Hong Kong, I'm thinking, there's going to be a lot of language barrier there, but there's a lot of English being spoken in Hong Kong.
Yeah, yeah. A
So,
lot of British. Yeah.
but now that
And
I
you,
think about it, there
yeah.
is one instance. We were doing a 21 nights in London, and we
Mhm.
would have the jam sessions at the little club inside the O2 Arena.
Right.
Prince is playing Peach one night,
Hmm.
and he is playing probably the most ferocious rhythm guitar I'd ever heard in my life.
Wow.
It was one other time I could say my jaw just fell right off of my face listening to somebody play guitar. And that was the first night that Eddie Hazel came back to P-Funk
Ah.
at Soundcheck.
Hmm.
I was like, you're either blessed or you made a deal with the devil to sound that good. And I remember getting ready to walk out, and I just stopped and turned around, and I was frozen in my tracks. Eddie was killing. And that particular night when Prince was playing Peach,
Hmm.
and you know how the real blues guitarists have a way of comping themselves. They sing something, then they'll play something in between.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes they'll play what they're singing.
Hmm.
He was so on point that night. I had not heard anybody slice up an F in the guitar like that since the time I saw Eddie got back. And so
Wow.
Eddie was 79.
Hmm.
Now, this is what, maybe
2007.
2007.
Right.
Yeah, so we're talking about 30 years later almost. It was it was lightning in a bottle that night, man. I wish I could have gotten a hold of that.
Well, he documented most of the stuff he did, so
Yeah,
hopefully they uncovered that or somebody finds it at who's
yeah.
ever managing those archives like that. So
I remember he had the tangerine colored Strat with the white paint guard.
oh, okay, so that'll help him a little bit.
That'll help, yeah. So
Yeah.
if I see a clip in London with that
Uh-huh.
particular guitar, I'm gonna hone in on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Greg Boyer's request. Let's get that together.
Yeah,
The
anybody out there, just hit me up on one of them social media, or as I call it, SMedia
yeah.
platforms.
Oh, I got I got a couple questions, but one last
Yeah,
question is the last time I saw Prince was end of December 2013 when he had the massive horn section,
yeah.
double-digit horn players. How difficult is that to guys coming from all different directions and jumping around? How would they pull that off?
I wasn't there to watch the process happen,
Okay.
but I would think that maybe one or two people has an idea of what the line is, and everybody else just has to learn it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if the line is da 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 da, everybody has to come in there and learn that line. Now, do you choose a harmony to play with it? Up
Mhm.
to whoever's the captain of the boat at the time. because I know Phil Lassiter came in, trumpet
Right,
player.
trumpet player. Yep.
Yeah, and he was quarterbacking a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
And I think Marcus Anderson was part of that. Sax
Adrian
player,
Crutchfield. Yeah.
AJ Crutchfield. Yeah, it was almost like two horn sections made one, a 5-piece and a 6-piece, and they just all converged on the stage at once.
Yeah, it was. I wrote not a major review, but I wrote a review of the concert and sent it to a bunch of players in the group. And one of the horn players wrote me back, and I was complimentary to the horns. Yeah. What about more about the horns? I didn't write long enough, like a detailed concert review just on the horns.
Yeah.
But I said nice things about the horns. So yeah. But
well, he was obviously very proud of his contribution, and
that's true.
And I guess he wanted a few more attaboys and a pat on the back.
That's right. Yeah.
But
the next time I'll write him one.
Yeah. But all that stuff is out there in the sonic universe. So
yeah.
Anybody wants to can listen to it and enjoy it, and they don't have to write down what they saw and what they heard. They can just grasp it in a moment, which is a lot of the issue I have with people recording these concerts with their phones. You are not in the moment when you are. I mean, think about it. Are you going to sit there and look at someone and enjoy the concert and scream and reach out, or are you going to stand there with a phone and record some grainy video that you more than likely won't watch maybe 2 or 3 times at best? So you just have it stored on your phone somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
The whole experience about being at a concert is taken away by recording it on the phone. And I wish people wouldn't do it, but for me to say no phones at a concert would be like trying to push rain back up in the sky.
I think Tony did it on their reunion tour.
Yeah,
something like that. But yeah, it's tough. It's funny that you mentioned that, because the last time I saw Prince, it was at the Mohegan Arena, Mohegan Sun. The guy in front of me for practically the entire concert was on his phone watching the Cowboys against the Eagles Sunday Night Football on his phone. I said, what the F is this?
That's somebody that shouldn't have been at the concert.
Yeah.
It's one thing to sit there and record the concert.
Yeah.
But to sit there and watch something else totally unrelated while, somebody is really pouring out their heart and soul musically in front of you.
Right.
It's a slap in the face.
Yeah.
A lot of these musical performances, people don't realize how much a part of it they are being audience members.
Mm-hmm.
And it's especially true when you playing go-go, when the crowd participation is so much a part of what's going on. The musicians are giving their heart and soul to you,
right?
And you're giving your appreciation back to them, which only makes them want to give you more what they got. And it's a circuit. Then it just goes on for the whole entire performance. And you're snipping wires. If you want to make a circuit analogy, mm-hmm. You're snipping wires when you are not engaged in the music and the performance.
Yeah, it's a big problem. I mean, you see it all the time because you're on the stage.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of musicians too will have an issue with, they'll sit there and playing, and the audience is just sitting there with their hands in their lap and something. I said, don't stop. I said, you don't know how they enjoy mm-hmm. the concert. You don't know what they're feeling right now. They might be sitting there saying that this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. I'm having a time of my life, but they're not dancing. So
the strangest gig that I've ever, one of them was in New York at Tramps. It was Sheila E. and E Train. I think Eric Leeds was playing saxophone, but we were up. It was, you played Tramps before, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we were there and dancing, the concert started. People who had the tables around the perimeter were screaming so loud when the break of the songs that we actually had to sit on the floor like kindergartners for the concert. That was strange. I'm sure that was a memorable gig if Sheila ever, thinks about that one.
Yeah, I used to play there at Tramps a lot with P-Funk and the Chuck Brown Band.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
we love it.
The episode where this guy comes down there because Boosie was supposed to play there,
Uh-huh.
and the owner of the club was like, yeah, Boosie said he was coming tonight, and he had been advancing this guy a considerable amount of money.
Uh-huh.
And then he said, hey man, Boosie's coming. He says he's gonna come downstairs. And I'm like thinking, okay. And the guy walks in, and I looked at him, and I looked at Steve. I said, that motherfucker ain't Boosie. And he stood there looking like, oh man, my cover is blown. And it was just some tall black guy with some funny glasses that was not William Collins.
Yeah, and he was looking to get some money.
He was looking to get some. Oh, he
got some.
I think he was like about $600 deep.
Wow.
Before. So yeah. I don't know how it was handled, but I definitely blew his cover.
Hopefully he changed his life if he's still around.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, wow. you need to repent, man. Yeah,
we love, we'd go see the Time there a lot. And we'd stand right behind the soundboard and see the show. Yeah, that was a nice little spot.
It was a gritty little club.
Yeah.
That had the best music. And the sound in there was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was, old wood, so it was kind of soft, and a lot of things there to suck up a lot of the environment. And subwoofer sounded great in the room. I just loved playing there. Plus, Chelsea Billiards was right across the street, so I would always go get some pool before the show.
Did you ever play snooker?
I have never played snooker, but I would love to.
I think I did twice when I was in Taiwan. They had like those it's a long table, right?
Oh yeah, so
yeah,
12-foot table.
Yeah, right. So I wasn't any good with it. I just played in the neighborhood pool shop. My friends' neighborhood used to live in Bridgeport. So
it's like if you go to Europe, you're not going to see a lot of the sports you normally see over here. There's not going to be any baseball. Right. There's not going to be any football. Yeah. Now, what they call football is what we call soccer.
Yeah, right.
You can see that all day, all year in Europe. But one of the things I used to watch was snooker.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I'm pretty good on the rules and everything, but I'm thinking to myself, that's a very hard pocket billiard game to play because the pockets are small, the balls are small, the table is huge. So it's like trying to shoot in your backyard.
Yeah, not easy, right?
No, not easy at all.
Did you ever challenge Prince to a few games on the billiard table?
Yeah.
Who usually won?
He beat me once, and he was so happy because I was known for handing people their ass on that pool table. We're all out one night, and I was like, I don't know. And they said we're going to a after party, and we're not going to play, but the band is just going to be there. Like, ooh, Prince is here. Look at the band, almost like a zoo exhibit, which I didn't like. But I found out that they had pool tables there, so Prince is going to bring his cue. So nobody wants to hang out, but it's part of the job and everything. So we're playing pool. And I beat him 3 games in a row. And he just took his cue and threw it on the table and said, that's it, I'm leaving. So because I beat him, we all got an early night. Everybody got a chance to go home instead of hanging out at the club all night. So I was like the unsung hero of the evening.
That's right. Everybody's patting you on the back the next day. Thank you. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So it was, you brought to mind a story because we were friends with Bernie Worrell and we saw the Woo Warriors. They were in Long Island and we went before the show backstage. We were hanging with them and my friend was down from Montreal. Yeah. And Bernie wasn't rolling dice, but the band was rolling dice for money. And my friend was joining in and it was like, it was really like, hey man, this was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I would do that all the time. I think at one point, with P-Funk and Maceo, I was carrying my cue with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
you got to have that release and normalcy, right? Then
I remember one of P-Funk's road managers was playing me, and I got an 8-ball on a break twice in a row.
Ah.
Yeah. So the thing of it was, it became. I think it became a thing, and I found out later who's going to get Greg off the table.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, it was like the basketball game when the winner keeps rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's very much it. So
right. Wow. So I got one final question before we bid adieu.
You probably have 5 more.
Yeah, but I got one because we talked before about your solo work. You were working on music. I'm sure you got anything ready to drop or close to stuff you've been working on?
I've been working on my stuff since 2005.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's me being particular. I don't know if it's me being too busy to invest, or I don't know if it's me not really feeling like it. But at some point, man, and I'm thinking it's got to be this year that I got a bunch of stuff that I have written.
Right.
And I just need to get it recorded, man, and quit, BSing around. Now, I do have a quintet gig coming up at the Krieger Museum in Washington, D.C. on February 15th. And I will be doing some original material there.
Oh,
and,
okay. So mark that down. Your Facebook, you'll be pumping that up, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You still do sexy MF in your repertoire?
Not that one.
Okay.
I do Get Off.
Okay. Yeah.
Do a version of that. But this was mostly like I had 2 bands. I had a jazz band that played funky stuff, and then I had a funky band that played jazz stuff.
Oh wow, that's
so the go-go / funk band that played Sexy MF also did Black Market by Weather Report.
Okay.
And we did a version of Xenophobia, and which is you can find that on YouTube somewhere.
Okay.
So yeah.
Just type in Greg Boyer live and
Greg Boyer. Greg Boyer, and just type in, Xenophobia or Get Off or Black Market. It'll show up. Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely hear the Maceo influence on those tracks, Sexy MF, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So and definitely more Maceo, the Fred influence, because if you're a trombone player and you're playing funk, Fred Wesley is ground zero.
Yeah, great guy.
Everything that happens on that horn starts with him. So there are people out there that are playing. I saw Michael Dees, who's like this super hardcore jazz guy. He's up there funking it up on trombone. And then there's this guy out west named Kyle Molitor.
Okay.
And from Portland area, and Alex Wasili, who was playing with what was that band? But it's just a bunch of guys out there. But you get your influence playing funky trombone from Fred Wesley. You cannot deny that.
Yeah, we went to see he was on the show a few years back, and we went to see him in Hartford, Connecticut, and I was like, oh bad, because I'm like, it was like a weeknight in a smaller club. I said, people are missing out. This band was killing.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the players, he had some older guys with him.
Yeah.
So
like Dwayne Dolphin and Bruce Cox have been playing in this band for who knows how long. Bass and drums, drums and bass respectively. Gary Winters on trumpet. And those are the guys I know right off the top of my head. They're almost like mainstays in Fred's band.
Yeah, one guy.
Fred's not letting up, man.
Yeah, he dropped some weight too, right?
Yeah,
looking good.
He dropped a lot, man. I said, man, how'd you do that? He said, 13 weeks of raw potatoes. I was like, whoa.
Oh, it didn't even boil them or bake them or nothing.
No. But he looks and sounds great. And,
yeah.
And he's coming up on 84 in July, so he's still out there.
Yeah. Hey, brother, I got to thank you for coming by, man. It's always great
pleasure, man,
to listen to you and talk with you, and thank you for the music. Thank you for being a showman besides a killer musician on the trombone.
Well, more than anything, thank you all for appreciating it, because, our job is meaningless without an audience.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So for all of those people that buy the music, come to the concerts and everything, on behalf of all those people that perform and myself, thank you immensely.
And without the concert goers and buying of the music, it's like you'd be looking into the crowd saying, "Where's my pool cue? I got to get out of here."
Yeah, it would be a glorified sound check.
Yeah, right. I had one of those DJing that for 2 people. They said, "Oh, you can go home. You know, we still pay you." I said, "No, I'm going to play my set."
Yeah, really.
For the 2 people eating pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and I remember that. And before I got with P-Funk, man, you know, I would play in these little juke joints down in the edge of Maryland with dirt on the floor for $1 a night.
Yeah. So you've been there
Yeah.
a little before me. Yeah. Wow. But yeah, thanks, Greg. And hopefully we'll see you with the P-Funk crew on the road. I'm sure you guys will be touring. George is not retired. So
No.
yeah.
I mean, has he slowed down? Yeah. But when you see George, you see George.
Yeah.
And the band is kicking as much ass as ever.
Yeah. And thanks for everything. Greg Boyer, go to his Facebook page, get those going out fast t-shirts.
Yeah.
And also George Clinton's website, right?
Yeah. GeorgeClinton.com.
Right. All right. Everybody be set. Thanks, Greg.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right.